board with us, please hit the like button. Our friend Zander joins us now, co-host of Birds 365. And those guys had a great conversation with Jeff Kerr this morning. And, I'm just going to do this. You had a chance. The Devontae Smith softball thing, to tee something up and go, you guys are out of your mind. Tell that guy Cilio he's full of shit. This was a Cilio thing. There's no problem between me and Nick. Here's Jalen. Thought he was Joe Biden. I'm like, dude, answer something here. Tell me what we don't. Tell me something that you could have corrected. Another T-ball moment, and he slips right through it. Now, look, again, it's a charity event. I'm not looking for him to kind of crack the code here. But holy cow, learn to be the face of the franchise.
Hurts wasn't asked the question, though, right? It was Devontae Smith who was asked the question.
But why not him have – hey, really? They set everything up like Mr. Bob Lang. I know he had to have been there. Why didn't he at least address it and go like this? Hey, you know that stuff that went on? You guys made that up. The guy that Devontae tweeted at Cilio, he made that up. All those guys too. Jeff Kerr made it up. Jeff McClain made it up. All those guys made it up. Here it is again. Chance to kind of set the record straight. This guy just won't do it.
Yeah, they didn't give him the chance, and whatever. I thought Devontae's handling of it was good, but
yeah,
it is what it is. And Jalen's not a media guy. He's not going to fish out the media, especially in his 7 off weeks of the year when he doesn't have to deal with us knuckleheads. And he opted to not go that route, and you're going to kill him for it, and I'm not.
Yeah, I'm going to kill him for it because that guy is expected to set records straight for his team going into camp. Dude, being the face of the franchise, it's more than just playing on Sundays.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. You're absolutely right about that. And there's also an obligation to handle the outside noise. That's part of handling the rat poison is mitigating what people talk about. And he didn't do a good job at that, but whatever, man. Go out and throw 30 touchdowns and 4,000 passing yards and win 12, 13 ball games. I don't give a hell what you say about Nick Sirianni. I really don't. I mean, good Lord, Big Cells.
I want to play the game with you here.
Oh, let's do it.
I want to play the game I just played here with you. Because I guarantee you, watch this one here, folks. This thing here to me was pretty right down the middle. Okay? It was like 11-11, man. And the difference came in coaching, in my opinion, when it came to rosters. And before we even do this exercise, you really believe that the Eagles have a better roster, 53-man, and starting 22 than the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, and you do too.
No, I don't. I don't think you have a better defense than
them. You have the Cowboys winning how many games this year?
Oh, I don't really think I think you're going to be right there with them.
You think So where are the wins coming in the NFC East? Nobody's going to win any games?
It's going to be one of the worst divisions in the league.
Wow. All right. Well, I don't think so at all. I think the Eagles have a great roster. They don't have great depth.
Wait a minute.
They have a great roster.
How do you know you? Okay, let's do this thing.
All right, let's do it.
Mr.
Dallas is having 5 wins this year. Mr. Shredding Mark Holmes. Mr. The Cowboys stink this year. Mr. I don't know what they're doing. Now they're going to be good.
No,
now they have a better roster.
Who said I thought they were going to be good? No, this is not who's going to be good.
You're telling me
who has the advantage.
Have a worse roster than the Dallas Cowboys.
This is who has the advantage at every position.
All right, let's go. Let's play.
All right.
Let's do it.
Prescott, runner-up in the MVP, led the NFL in passing touchdowns versus your boy, Jalen Hurts. Who has the advantage in this one? And he's 9-4 versus the Eagles.
I'll go Dak on this. I think Dak is a slightly better quarterback, but that doesn't mean I don't think we can win with Jalen Hurts. I'll take Dak.
I think Jalen's got more of a chance to overcome that because you know why? Isn't this year finding out who he really is?
Wait, this is a better roster debate, though. This is not what guy would I take, because I'm not sold I would take Dak Prescott. I think he's a better talent, but he hasn't proven to win the big game. He hasn't even proven to show up in the big game. I do think he's a highly talented player. I'll give him credit for that. I think he's got a little bit more talent in terms of being a quarterback than Jalen Hurts. I think I'll still take Hurts, but for the sake of this conversation, Dak Prescott can take the win on this.
Running back, Zeke or Barkley?
Barkley, all day and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, not close. Now, look, I know CD plays out of the slot. I'm going more with how they look at AJ and CD as their big playmaking guy. And CD or AJ, who has the advantage here?
AJ Brown. AJ Brown's a top 3 receiver in the NFL. CD Lamb is a great player. I do not view him as a top 3 player in the NFL, a top 3 receiver in the NFL. I mean, I can rattle off 5 guys in my head right now that I would take in front of CD Lamb. And I think he's a good player. But AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams. I mean, I would even take, who's the dude that just got signed down in Detroit? I like that guy. I mean, he's like, they're similar to me. St. Brown, exactly. So I'm not really, I like CD, but no, AJ Brown all day.
Brandon Cooks, Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith, in my opinion, is probably the first or second best wide receiver 2 in the NFL.
So you think he's better than Brandon Ayuk?
I think he's right there. I think they're them, and then who else has a really stacked?
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins is. I don't think he's Devontae. I think he's a little bit lower than Devontae Smith. I would say. I think Devontae has more of an upside. Remember, Devontae is also playing with AJ Brown and with a quarterback that is more of a playmaking style than a passing style. So imagine Devontae Smith as a wide receiver 1. Imagine Devontae Smith in Dallas instead of CD Lamb as the only option. I think he's getting 2,000 yards. I think he's doing the same thing CD Lamb does. I think he's that good. Definitely Devontae Smith.
I'd like to see Devontae and AJ get in that slot and see what they can do against them safeties.
Yeah,
I don't think they can cover them.
I think you'll see it this year with Kellen Moore. I think that's where Kellen Moore is going to make this offense better. Yeah, I'm going Devontae Smith there, though. He would be great in the slot. He's great all over the field. He's just one of those guys.
Billy 500 in the building in here, folks. Way to go,
what up,
brother.
500?
He's in the building in here. This is where you and I are probably going to disagree. Jake Ferguson, tight end, 71 catches, 780 yards receiving last year, 8 touchdowns versus Dallas Goedert. Who has the advantage?
I'm taking Dallas Goedert. Player to player, I'll take Ferguson. That. Yeah, but you're only taking Ferguson. That's because of the quarterback.
I'm taking Ferguson because he's reliable.
Well, that's fair. Dallas Goedert's a better player, though. He's got more of a skill set. He can do more on the field too,
but you got to be reliable. You got to be on the field.
That's fair. I'll take it. I'll agree to disagree. Okay. And I respect Jake Ferguson. I think he's a good player. So I can see where you're coming from. I'll go Dallas Goedert there.
Okay. Left tackle, Tyler Guyton, Jordan Mailata.
Jordan Mailata, baby. Tyler Guyton, unproven.
This was a tough one for me. I took Tyler Smith because he's the #1 rated guard in the National Football League. And guess who's second? It's Landon Dickerson. So it's like these two dudes. Like, watch this. Who don't you want?
I'm taking Big Country, baby.
You could
taking Big Country. I'm taking Landon,
baby. Put a push here because they're both right there. I mean, you could actually.
Yeah, I'll take Landon, man. Big Country. I love his attitude. I love how he plays the game. I love his physicalness. I love his ability to stick. He's one of those guys.
Tyler was the All-Pro though.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, it's a push. He's a great player.
Yeah.
I'll take Landon just because he's my guy, and I opt to go for him.
My guy, Cooper Beebe. Cooper Beebe versus Cam Jurgens. Center.
Cam Jurgens has played games in the NFL and has hung up. I haven't seen it yet from Cooper Beebe, so we'll see.
That's right. I'll take Philly. The other guy was an All-Pro. I'll take Jurgens too. Zach Martin versus Steen. Come on, man. Martin's going to Hall of Fame.
Zach Martin's an unbelievable player. Definitely got the advantage there. Tyler Steen, I mean, talk about unproven. Very unproven. So, I'll go Zach Martin.
I like that right guard combination over there with Trevor Keegan and Micaiah Becton and Tyler Steen.
I don't even want to see Tyler Steen. I'm not even going to lie to you. I have this thought. Well, no, just because in my head, I have now thought about the potential of Micaiah Becton
being over there.
And I'm thinking of this, and I'm looking at that offensive line hypothetically in my head, and I'm like, man, forget Tyler Steen. Get Micaiah Becton in there. If he can play guard, put him in there. That's a nasty offensive line, man. Saquon Barkley could have a crazy year with that type of offensive line. So In my head, I'm kind of like not out on Steen. I'm going to give him a chance, but you know what I mean. I'm just in love with the idea of Mekhi Becton being there.
Obviously, Terrence Steele and Lane, you're going Lane. I'm going Lane too.
Yeah. Duh.
Now, remember something here. Even though the Cowboys, in my opinion, you don't agree, had the advantage player matchup-wise as a unit, it's not close. Okay, you know what I'm saying? The Eagles have a much better across the board because look, Dickerson and Smith right here. Well, okay, Juergens is better, I think, by a lot. The left tackle is better, I think, by a lot, and the right tackle is better by a lot.
Yeah, and then also group them.
And the two guards are good.
Yeah, but group them. Ready?
Oh, yeah, group them on the Eagles.
Who's got the better wide receiving core? Eagles by a landslide. Who has the better overall offensive line? Eagles by a pretty long shot. Who has the better running back room? Eagles. Who has the better tight end? Eagles.
Hold on. That's not the exercise here. Hang on here now. We're matching up going across the board here.
All right, fair enough.
All right. So, my eyes, it came out 7-4. You think it's more like 8-3.
Did I have 3 Dallas wins? I guess I had Prescott, Zach Martin, and who else?
Oh, okay. You only had 2, so you had 9.
9-2, baby.
Yeah, I had 7-4. Crazy.
9-2, and it's really 9-1, and 1 is a push because Dak Prescott may be a better player, but the guy can't win in the playoffs. Who wants a quarterback that can throw the ball all over the yard?
That's not the exercise.
I know it's not the exercise, but
Eagles
I can't.
Versus Cowboys.
Who wants a quarterback that doesn't show up when the lights are the brightest?
Hold on. Look at here. Okay. Now let's do this one. Let's do your defense here. Now, since you graded so hard, I'm going to grade harder now. DeMarcus Lawrence, Milton Williams. Who you got, Zander?
Why is DeMarcus Lawrence matched up with Milton Williams?
We're going to go 43 here. Across the board, edge rushing.
Yeah, well, DeMarcus Lawrence is a better player than Milton Williams. Now, how old is DeMarcus Lawrence?
Who cares? Milton Williams has never played that position in his entire career out there.
Yeah, D-Law's 32 years old. He's probably going to take a big drop off this year. That's kind of an unfair comparison, though, because Milton Williams is not.
You're not going to take Milton Williams over.
Milton Williams is not going to play on the outside much at all. Maybe 10, 15% of the snaps. Maybe.
They got him listed right now as an end.
Well, he's not going to be an end. You got Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, and then you have Nolan Smith and Brandon Graham. He's not going to play.
So who are your 43 ends? Your 43 ends are going to be Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, and your interior tackles, if you're in a 43, are going to be Davis and Carter.
So you think they're not going to have Bryce Huff on the field if they're in a 43?
No, I didn't say that. They're going to put him at strong side linebacker outside.
Okay. All right.
And they're going to put Nolan on the other side.
All right. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Chauncey
I still don't like that comparison, but all right.
He got killed in it. That's why you don't like it. I know.
No, I don't like it because it's not what the player is.
I know somebody else who doesn't
player is
like
depth at the defensive tackle position, and he's a great depth piece at defensive tackle. That's what he is. But I get
Chauncey Golston, left defensive tackle versus Jordan Davis. Who do you got?
Jordan Davis. I don't even know. Who's the other dude?
Chauncey Golston.
Good player?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like you can replace him with a guy from the recess yard. So he's just a guy. Don't try and sell me on Chauncey Golston. I never even heard the name.
You know how you know he's lying? Because he goes like this, Jordan Davis. He looks away when he does it. So that's when you know he's not telling the truth. Dude, this guy was a non-factor in the second half of the season, Jordan Davis.
Okay, and what exactly was Chauncey Golston?
Well, he showed up at least and played. How many sacks did Chauncey Golston have last year? Let's take a look at his numbers compared to
1.5 sacks. Oh, he's a burner.
What did Jordan Davis have?
He is striking fear in the eyes of the opponent.
What did Jordan Davis have?
Chauncey, watch out, Eagles fans. Watch out, everybody. Dallas could be making a run this year. They have Chauncey Golston.
I think your boy had 19 tackles last year. Okay, so this guy here had how many? Okay, last season he had 25 tackles, 1.5
11
sacks.
solo tackles, 14 assisted, 1.5 sacks, and
What's your
1
boy
forced
have?
fumble.
Let's take a look. Jordan Davis last year and that greatness. Jordan Davis stats.
Chauncey Golston out of Iowa. Big Sills is telling me that.
Woo! Wait a minute.
Golston.
That gets swayed back here. Hold on here for a minute. Hold on here. Jordan Davis gets the advantage here. He gets the advantage.
Yeah, even Big Sills is giving Jordan Davis the advantage.
He is. He had 45 tackles last year. Wow. Actually, that's better than I thought of a better season.
Yeah, and a lot of his – it's good. It's good. That's what I mean. Jordan Davis is developing nicely. Everyone's looking for the splash plays, and he's not as much of a splash player. He's playing more nose. He's not going to make splash plays, but what's his impact on the game? How much is he freeing up, people from blocking Jalen Carter? How much is he making life easier for the guys on the edge? He's got a different role. Jordan Davis is progressing nicely. I think he's going to have a big year this year.
Excuse me, Prince. He had 2 sacks, Dick. Do your homework. All right. Micah Parsons versus Josh Sweat.
Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons definitely has him beat there. I'm not I've been a little bit underwhelmed and very underwhelmed actually by Josh Sweat. The guy's a prototypical edge rusher. He should be playing lights out football, and he just never turned the corner. He's streaky. He's inconsistent. He has all the tools in the toolbox to be a great player. Hasn't quite put it all together. Kind of reminds me of Derek Barnett. Like, not that bad. I get it. He's been a little better. But Derek Barnett was never, awful. I know we had crazy expectations because he was a 14 overall pick. But that's kind of what he reminds me of. Just a guy who hasn't quite turned the corner, hasn't quite lived up to the potential, and hasn't been what we've been wanting him to be in Philadelphia. So definitely Micah Parsons on that one.
Okay. Hey, Maniac, we don't do punters and kickers here, guy. That's not part of pro football, okay? They're not football players, my friend. All right. Will linebacker, Damon Clark versus Bryce Huff.
Who is it? Damon Clark?
Yes.
I'm going to go Bryce Huff, I think. Let me look up Damon Clark's stats here.
Yeah, look.
0 sacks last year. He had 109 total tackles, 70 solo. That's pretty good play. That's pretty good. It's not great, but it's not bad.
And your guy had 19 tackles.
Yeah. Are they playing different positions somewhat, though?
Well, that's because we're putting him in a 43.
Yeah, no, I get it. Because of the defense that we're doing for the exercise, they're different. So it's tough to compare the two.
One guy's a pass rusher. The other guy's not a run stopper. The other guy's more of a run stopper than the guy who's he's more like a Kaiser White kind of guy.
Yeah, that's fair. So it's not really a great comparison. I'll still take Bryce Huff because I value getting to the quarterback. And his pressure rate was amazing. His pass rush win rate was amazing. I know it hasn't been full yet. He hasn't had the chance to be a full-time guy yet. He hasn't started, so I understand those reservations. But based on what I've seen, based on what I think he can be, I'll take Bryce Huff. I'm optimistic on him. I'm definitely still concerned, that we're not going to replace the production of Hassan Reddick with him. But I think he's going to be a good player, so we'll see what he's able to do in a full-time role.
I'm taking Eric Kendricks, middle linebacker, over Devin White.
Yeah, me too. I'll take him for sure. Just haven't seen it from Devin White in 4 years. It's tough to go off the first year of his career coming out of LSU, and he was really a game wrecker. Obviously a 5th overall pick. Linebackers don't get picked that high. So he was obviously that good of a player early in his career. But we've had 4 straight years now of very, very underwhelming play. So we have to see it with him. I'm not fully sold Devin White will be the guy. I'm optimistic, but we haven't seen it in a while. So let's see it first.
Strong side linebacker, I'll take anyone over Nolan Smith, but I want to know what the numbers of Maris Luafu are for the Cowboys. MARISTLIOFAU before I make that proclamation here. Because Nolan Smith, in my opinion, has got a lot of work to do before we start talking about what kind of football player this guy's going to be. Nolan Smith, in my opinion, again, has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I mean, Miroslav Liafau is a rookie. He's coming in. He was drafted in the 3rd round this year, so we'll see what he's able to do.
Oh, wait, that's a push.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if it's a push. I mean, you can't give it to Nolan Smith, but to be fair,
but I can't give it to the other kid.
You definitely can't give it to the other kid. Nolan Smith at least played snaps in the NFL. I mean, I'll give him the edge.
True. Deron Bland or Quinyon Mitchell?
So you have Quinyon as our starting corner?
Okay, or Isaiah Rodgers, who hadn't played last year.
Yeah.
Plus, this guy's first team All-Pro.
You got to get Deron Bland there. Even if you go Deron versus Keeley, you got to take Deron. He's proven it in the NFL, played at a high level. Even Deron over Isaiah, haven't seen it in a year. Isaiah's a young player, pretty unproven. Honestly, only had a year or two of playing good football. And over Quinyon hasn't played a snap. So you got to take Deron Bland in that
one. Donovan Wilson or Gardner Johnson? Gardner Johnson didn't play at all last year. And Donovan Wilson, I believe, was a Pro Bowl consideration guy. If I'm not, either it was him or Malik Hooker. Because one of those guys I thought was a Pro Bowler last year. Because they got a bunch of Pro Bowlers in that secondary. Donovan Wilson, strong safety, Dallas Cowboys, or Gardner Johnson?
Going off potential, I think I'll take Gardner Johnson, but I guess if you're going off of last year, Donovan Wilson had a better year. I mean, he played, I don't know, let me look up what his stats were last year and how many games. He played 15 games last year, 88 total tackles, down from 101, 55 solo, down from 77 the year before. So he kind of went backwards a little bit last year. He had 5 sacks and 22, 0 last year. Maybe they used him differently in a new defense down there, but going off potential, I'll take CJ. I think CJ is a bigger upside player.
88 tackles is a lot for a safety.
Yeah, it is. That's true.
I'm taking Malik Hooker, free safety, over Reed Blankenship.
Wait, who are you taking, Donovan Wilson or CJ?
That's closer than I thought, what you said. Because he's so much out of position a lot of the time, Gardner Johnson, but he's a playmaker.
Right. That's his style of play. You're right.
But he's a guy who makes up for it, making big plays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of has the Deron Bland, Trevon Diggs.
Yeah.
They make big plays, but they also get burnt. The year Trevon Diggs led the league in interceptions, he also led the league in getting absolutely cooked on the deep ball because he was jumping too many routes. So, there's give and take with all that stuff. So I think
Donovan Wilson's a better all-around player, but I think Gardner Johnson's a better big game player.
No, that's fair.
Playmaker.
Yeah, better playmaker. Yeah, look at Philly 500. 88 tackles for a safety means the guys up front are not doing their job. Mozzie, where are you, Mozzie?
CJ. All right. I'm taking Malik Hooker over Reed.
Yeah, definitely. Malik Hooker's
He's a Pro Bowler, right?
Yeah,
Malik Hooker's a Pro Bowler.
Player. He's a legit player. Reed, Ed Reed Blankenship. Check it out. Ed Reed Blankenship. That's what folks are calling him nowadays, I guess. Still, now I'll take Malik there. Yeah, that's a Cowboy win.
And then Trayvon Diggs versus Slay. I got Diggs.
Yeah, I got Diggs. I got Diggs there as well. Yeah, I like Trevon Diggs. I think he provides you a big spark that you need every once in a while on defense. I know he gets burned on the big play every once in a while, but I can live with that when you make the kind of plays he does. Now, if you're going off last year, because you used this against CJ, you use this against a couple of other guys, how many games did Trevon Diggs play last year?
Goose egg.
No, He got hurt in the training camp, didn't he?
Something like that.
So he hasn't played.
They had Stephon Gilmore out there who did a really nice job.
Yeah, he did he's a great player, obviously older on the back end of his career, but still an amazing player. But Diggs didn't play last year. So let's see. How's he going to come back from the injury? Is he going to come back and be the same player? We don't know that.
So you think a 34-year-old corner is going to outplay a guy?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's not the slam dunk that it would have been if we did this exercise a year ago before he got hurt.
So looks to me the Cowboys have the advantage on defense here, and Oh, wait. I got one more to go.
Breaking news. The Eagles don't have an advantage on defense. Like, yeah, I knew this.
Hold on. Well, hold on. Go get your panties in a bind, Mr. Kelly Green. Head coach, Mike McCarthy, OC head coach versus Nicky.
You got to go, Mike. I mean, he's got a Super Bowl ring. I know it's a long time ago, and I know he's got a lot of things where you just shake your head as a head coach in his career. But I don't know. Wait. I want to hear who you're picking and why, because you can make a case for Nick. He's got only 3 years, so he doesn't quite have the tenure, but he's got an NFC title. He's got an appearance in the Super Bowl. He won the NFC East, and he's got a 66 winning percentage. That's pretty good.
Okay.
I know we have our gripes with him. I get it. I'm with you on them.
Mike McCarthy's won a Super Bowl as a head football coach, play calling guy.
Yeah, and how many years did he play with Aaron Rodgers? The guy was very underwhelming.
Oh, so if he wins it, now we're going to quantify it. Is that what we're saying here? If he wins the Super Bowl, so that's like me saying, well, this guy went to the playoffs 3 years in a row, went to a Super Bowl, but he sucks too. So which metric are we using here? The Nick Sirianni metric? Well, what Nick's done. This guy, what he did doesn't matter. Okay.
I didn't say I gave him the win because of it. I'm just saying you can't give him the credit without adding the context.
Can I tell you why?
He was largely underwhelming as the Green Bay Packers head coach, and he's made some questionable moves in Dallas.
And that guy over there on that side of the ball over there doesn't make. I mean, if it's not for Big Dom, they got to come down with a guy in a straitjacket to put the guy in a straight. They got to put him in an asylum or something because Big Dom is the guy controlling the guy on the sidelines. Well, let me throw something here about Mike.
But you can't lead up.
Mike has coached
won 14 ball games last year.
Mike has coached the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys, the two most difficult franchises to coach. You know why? Green Bay doesn't have an owner.
And Green Bay doesn't have one. Yep.
They've got a board of directors that they have to answer to. And in Dallas, you got to waffle around Jerry. And they've won 36 games since he's been the head football coach there. I get it. The knockouts are terrible looking for Dallas in his first 3 years.
How many years has he been head coach in Dallas?
Nick's had 1 year in Philly that was really good when it came to being the head coach. Remember something? He was fighting for his job, though.
Yeah, I mean, last year, he's got a lot of wins, man. How many wins did you say Mike McCarthy has?
36 since he's been there, I think.
And how many years is that? 4?
Well, how many years has he been there? Is it 3 years now he's been the head coach? Or is it 4 years? I thought he had the last 3 years they've won 12 ball games. I think in the last 3 they've won 36 games. He's 0-3 in the playoffs. No,
you're wrong. He's got 4 years now as the Dallas Cowboys head coach.
Okay.
He had 6 wins, and then he had 3 straight years of 12 wins. So he's got 42 wins in 4 years. Nick Sirianni has what? He had 14, he had 11 last year, and he had 9 the first year. That's 34 wins. I mean, he's 34 and 17.
This guy's so great. Why is he fighting for his job?
Well, because we don't have the great. I mean, you're talking about Dallas's ownership. Our ownership is tough to deal. They fired a damn Super Bowl coach because they wanted power.
Well, doesn't the guy with the Super Bowl ring get the doesn't he get the advantage?
I gave him credit. I told you I'm taking Mike because of that, but Senor brings up a good point. You can't just pick Mike because of a single Super Bowl ring. Is that the only thing he has over
then
Nick?
You can't pick him because he went to a Super Bowl either.
I picked freaking Mike. I'm just giving you the context that he's been a relatively underwhelming head coach.
He's averaged 10 wins a year in Dallas with Jerry. You can make the argument he's the 3rd greatest head coach in the history of the Cowboys.
And he gets absolutely clobbered every time his team gets to the playoffs. Absolutely obliterated.
I can't believe I have to sit here and try to
4 years in Dallas with the number 1 offense, and he's got no NFC title. Nick Sirianni's got an NFC title.
Who was the OC?
Wait a second, though.
Who was the OC? I forget.
Kellen Moore. If you're going to take this argument, Nick Sirianni's only been a head coach for 3 years. What have each of those coaches done in the last 3 years? Mike McCarthy's got 36 wins. Nick Sirianni has 34 wins. But Nick Sirianni's got the hardware. He won the NFC. Mike McCarthy's done squiggly squat. He gets to the playoffs and shits the bed.
So wait, so now you're changing the conversation here.
I'm
What
just giving
over the last 3 years?
I'm just giving context. You don't have the body of work to work from with Nick.
So let me ask you this. Over the last 3 years, say Bill Belichick was on the other side in the last 3 years that Nick coached versus Bill, you would give the advantage to Nick over Bill Belichick because Belichick has shit the bed the last 3 years?
You're putting words in my mouth.
No, you trying to figure out your freaking metric.
I'm giving you context. That's it. I chose McCarthy. I think McCarthy has the edge because of the full body of work and because of the Super Bowl ring. I'm just saying it's not as wide of a margin as you're making it out to be. Nick has been pretty successful as a head coach. If he gets fired in Philly, I guarantee you somebody hires Nick Sirianni. I guarantee it.
All right.
14-win season last year, Big Sills. NFC title. I mean, can't take that from him.
We'll find out soon.
All right. I'm just saying.
Okay. Eric Kendrick, 79 solo tackles, 3.5 sacks. Devin White, 49 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2 INT, but was benched. Well, you get benched when you don't want to play, son. Okay? And when you shit the bed and you don't want to show up to games, you don't get the benefit of the doubt because you quit on your team. Good night, Prince. Take the rest of the plays off here. You're all right there, kid. Ready to roll. All right. Here's a good one, too. Mike Zimmer versus Vic Fangio. We got
Vic Fangio. Mike Zimmer alienates every person he's ever coached with.
He's got a Super Bowl ring.
I know. Here we go again with the ring.
Oh, that's right, though. That's right. Winning it all doesn't matter, folks.
No, it does matter. I just take Vic Fangio. I think he's the better fit in the right moment with the right personnel. I think he's a better fit, and I like him. I like him better. They're both the coaches from the same cloth. They're the old school, grouchy ass, white dude with a big tummy coaching the defense. I like them both. I'm just taking Vic Fangio right now. Unless you can try and convince me to go the other way, which I don't think I can be convinced, but I don't think you have a compelling argument other than the fact that he has a Super Bowl ring.
Mike's had more successes with his defense and going further into playoffs than what Vic has.
How good is Zimmer's track record? I know he's obviously been around for a long time, but
plus he was a better head coach in Minnesota.
He was okay.
He had a winning record. Vic didn't. I like the big tummy comment too. I thought that was quite good too.
He was 72-56 as a head coach.
Yeah, what was Vic? He was under 500. It's okay.
Yeah, Vic wasn't a very good head coach.
No.
When he was in Denver.
Not that that matters as a coordinator, because I don't think it does. I really don't think it does. Okay? No.
Well, what do you have on this? You got Zimmer?
I got a push.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair.
I think what you said is right. I think they're the same dude.
They're very similar to me.
Okay? But here's where you guys had a conversation this morning and where I was going with this. And what Jeff Kerr said, who, by the way, is really good at his work. And he works for CBS Sports and he's on every Monday with Birds 365. Those guys do a great job with him. Good stuff, man, you guys are doing. And he said something about, when you look at communication being an issue, I would make this point to you that I think that Vic is going to have a little bit more clarity with communication. However, that communication didn't work at all in Miami last year. Those players hated him and he couldn't connect. Now, I think that had a lot to do with the head coach not having the good environment for Vic to work in. You know what I'm saying? You got a guy with a Hello Kitty backpack. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you got another style in Philly where it's more, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to go down this line. We're going to be this hardcore. I think it's more football talk in Philly than in Miami. I think it's more soft shit in Miami. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like a finesse organization where you walk around trying to be saying the right thing to not upset people. I don't give a shit about that conversation. If I'm going to tell you something, hey, that sucked. I want to tell you that sucked. I don't want to tell you, hey, you know why that's not good?
Right.
I don't want to go the extra mile like that, Zander. I want Vic to go like this. You're not playing. You're not like when Vic was asked the question at the golf tournament. We weren't very good last year. We got some new players in here, some new coaches. We'll see what's up. That to me is, that would aggravate a lot of the younger players today. When someone, you imagine being not called a good player. That's what he basically said. He said, we weren't very good. Well, he called the guys that are coming back not very good. But they didn't take it that way. They're taking it where, hey, we're being coached by a hardcore guy. And I think they're taking more to Vic. Zimmer is a tough drink. You know what I mean? If you don't like whiskey and you're forced to drink whiskey, that's not going to go down well.
I know. Wait a second. When's the last time Zimmer had a job?
I think he was an assistant with Dion with Colorado. Like he was a special assistant on that coaching staff with the Colorado Buffaloes.
He was unemployed. That's what sure enough says the reason he was unemployed the last 3 years. If he hasn't coached,
because he was being paid by the Vikings. That's not a fair conversation.
That's true.
Vikings
right. He had the big buyout
of money. Vikings still owed him.
He hasn't played in 3 years though, man. Or coached in 3 years. Shit, man. I mean, the NFL's changed in the last 3 years. It has.
Completely.
It really has.
It's a completely different defense. There's no question about it. Couple last questions for you. All right. Do you truly believe that they're going to use Barkley any differently than they used DeAndre Swift and Miles Sanders in the last 2 years?
I'm not ready to say they definitely are, but there's a chance they do because you have a new coordinator who's very good at spreading the ball around. It's one of the reasons that Dak was so successful with Kellen Moore and had the #1 ranked offense because Kellen Moore forced them to spread the ball around. And I think it's going to help Jalen Hurts. That's why I think Dallas Goedert's going to have a better year this year. So I'm not ready to say that they're going to definitely because they haven't gone that route with the running back recently. But look, this is the first time they've given big money. This is the first time they've gone out on a limb and praised their running back publicly like they have with Saquon Barkley. I think he has the chance to be a game-changing player with this offensive line in front of him. We'll see how they use him. But do they have to use him differently? Can he be a better version of that and still be successful?
Yeah.
I mean, I said this morning, we did our stat projections on the offense. 1,200 yards rushing, 350, 400 yards passing, and situational impact. I need you to close out games when we're up. I need you to get me significant yards in the red zone. I need you to, give me a 2nd and 5.
I want late game heroics.
Huh?
I want late game heroics closing them out because that's something the Eagles the last 2 years have not gotten from the run game is closing teams out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And that's where the situational impact for me is going to be more meaningful than what the stats say. I mean, if he closes out games for you and you can win 12, 13 ball games because you have a closer, that's big. That's big impact for me. So they haven't had that. I think they're going to use him in that regard. I don't know about the passing game because it's just not Jalen Hurts, right? Like even if it's Kellen Moore, it's not Jalen Hurts. And it's not a knock on the quarterback. It's just not who he is.
Who would you want to establish more in a game, in the passing game? Goddard or Barkley?
Goddard. Definitely 100% Goddard. Look, you line up Saquon Barkley in the passing game, it's a day off for any cornerback in the league.
Right, because it's underneath.
Every reporter from camp said that Devin White stuck Saquon Barkley. Now it's just mini camp, and it doesn't mean much. I'm just saying, you don't want Saquon's primary role to be in the passing game. That's not the best use of the player. He's an elusive, skilled back. You can, like we just said, close out games with him, but we don't want to turn him into this, high volume pass catcher. That's not what we want. We'd rather increase targets to Dallas Goedert than increase targets to Saquon Barkley.
Okay, last question here. What's the biggest need in your opinion with $27.7 million still left in the bank that Howie has in his bank account that you would look for with cap jettisons? Maybe they move off a guy because Bradbury's on the team right now. I mean, are you looking for another corner if you get rid of him? No. Are you looking for an edge? What would be an area that you think Howie right now was looking through? Because remember how he got Gardner Johnson. It was like 7 or 8 days before the start of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
And he pulled that guy off the Saints roster. So I'm sure he's targeting somebody right now. What position would that be in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's one, I want more depth in the defensive line. I want another. I think you can't drop 700 snaps from Fletcher Cox and expect Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter to pick up all that stuff and 6.5 sacks. But like even just the production, even just having guys out on the field, Yeah, I think adding to that room would be big for the depth. Wide receiver 3 is another one that stands out to me. The reason I don't want to say safety or secondary is because they have so many young corners right now. Howie's going to play a little bit of skullduggery in the back there. Like he might.
I don't want to take reps away.
Right. And he's going to move Maddox and maybe someone else to safety so that he can keep more cornerbacks on the roster. And I think there's a lot of players there that can kind of be interchangeable. Cooper DeJean's a guy that could probably play safety. Avonte Maddox is a guy that can play safety. I mean, you have a lot of players at the back end. That wouldn't be my priority. I would understand if they signed a safety because you really only have the 3. I mean, you have CJ, you have Reed, and you have Sidney Brown. But back end, I just don't see it. I think the line, defensive tackle, by the way, Howie loves building the lines. So I wouldn't be surprised if he feels the need to bolster that up. Offensive line, I feel good at. Wide receiver, though, I mean, we got the best, one of the best duos in the league. But if one of those goes down, I mean, that's a massive drop off. So if you can mitigate that a little bit, I think that would help. After that, I feel like you're pretty good. I mean, I know people say we don't have much depth, but if you get wide receiver depth, if you get defensive tackle depth, yeah. I mean, what more are you going to
Tennessee? If Tennessee moves off DeAndre Hopkins, I'd scoop that up.
Ooh, that would be nasty.
Because I think he's still. Put him at 3,
and you don't need him to be a 1.
No, you put him in the 3.
Exactly. Yeah, put him in the slot.
He'd be the best 3 in the league.
That would be incredible. That would be really good. Now you don't wonder how much Jalen would find the 3 just because there's only one ball. There's so many guys out there. There's only one ball to go around.
I think Tennessee's rebuilding. I think.
Yeah.
But
they just signed Ridley, right?
Yale goes how much? Yale, if they cut him, he's on a league minimum.
Wait, so this is a good point. Somebody's listening to our segment right now, and I just got a text. You ready for what it says? And they're chirping your ass in it. Punters and kickers are football players. All 3 phases of the game. That's why Andy Reid just went out and signed his new punter that everybody was afraid of.
Let me guess. Big Bill!
That's not Big Bill. But there's a point to that. I know what you're saying when you say that, but having good special teams can cost you games, or bad special teams. Look at the Super Bowl. We couldn't stop a punt. What's his name? What's the guy's name that returned the punt in the Super Bowl against us? Kadarius Toney. I mean, you need to have good special teams players. If you have a great kicker that puts it through every time you kick the ball, you're going to have field goals. You're going to have point afters. You need to make them.
You tell your little friend who's chirping Big Sills that the point differential is 3 points in this league. And yes, you have to have a little cocktail drinker on the team with a size 9 shoe. And absolutely, you have to have one of those little, what's his name? Josh Freeman, Josh Norman. What's the kicker's name? Elliott, right?
Jake Elliott.
Jake Elliott. That's it. I really
Jake
don't.
Jake the make, baby.
Hey, I want to end it with this here, though. You don't really believe that Paul George move takes you past the Eastern Conference Finals with a 35-year-old guy with a catastrophic knee and leg injury about 5 years ago. I must have missed all the banners that were hung up at Staples with the Clippers. So I love the Maxey deal, okay? But at the end of the day, you think that Paul George deal puts the 76ers into the Eastern Conference Finals?
No, it doesn't. Because look at the matchup. The Boston Celtics are better and younger. And the matchups when you get to the playoffs are brutal for the Sixers. One, you called it. I mean, he's 34. And go look at Staples. He did shit there. They were a nothing burger every year. It's not the right signing. But there wasn't much else Daryl could do. Now, I'm not a Daryl guy. And something you said at the start of the show, which I haven't heard, but I've been saying it to myself since you said it an hour and 2 hours ago. You know what it was? Daryl Morey, the master of his own king, or the ruler of his own kingdom and the master of nothing, or whatever it was, however you worded it. And I'm just like, that is so damn true, man. He thinks he rules the roost and he is the greatest thing since sliced bread. He doesn't win shit. I mean, he has never won in the NBA, and people talk about him just because he always makes the big move. People talk about him like
no. The big move is slurping on James Harden.
Well, yeah, that's where he's done that everywhere he's ever been.
Right. Well, name me a move other than that. Here, this one.
Paul George. Extending Embiid.
I moved my buddy and I slurped him around the league as I went around the league. James Harden. Excuse me, but James Harden, you want to talk about postseasons? He's the Dak Prescott of shooting guards.
Dude, Joel Embiid is kind of the Dak Prescott of players in the NFL too. The guy shits the bed every playoff. Like look at Underdog, my man Underdog. What's up, buddy? He says Embiid being healthy during the postseason is key. We need to load manage him at Kawhi Toronto levels. I guess.
65 games.
I've never seen Joel Embiid perform like he should perform in the second round of the playoffs. The guy puts up these MVP years. He dominates games. He's even dominated playoff games in the first round. The second round comes, and the dude he just disappears off the face of the earth.
And
I've never seen anything like it. Right. It's because he's hurt or he's limping or whatever it is. But I don't know, man. I'm out on Joel Embiid. I'm really out on the Sixers, dude. I just don't see it. I do not see it, especially with the Celtics set up the way they are.
You hate the Sixers now more because that guy owns the Commanders too. You got to admit it.
No, I don't care about that.
No?
Well, I don't think it helps the Sixers, but that guy's just building a sports empire. That's all he's trying to do.
Yeah, well, I saw that guy sitting at Lincoln Financial rooting on the Commanders in Philadelphia and then turning around wanting me to buy season tickets for Sixer games. I'd be looking at that guy going like this. That ain't happening. So
Jason A-Team's saying I'm dumbass. Jason, tell me when you've seen Joel Embiid perform like he should perform in the playoffs to advance the Sixers. Tell me. If you tell me, okay, I'll admit I was wrong. But until you tell me, I haven't seen it. We can't get out of the second round. MVP. All he cares about is getting the stupid MVP.
Yeah, once you get the MVP, he took the rest of the year off.
I mean, I could care less about the damn MVP.
Zander, my friend, that was spectacular, man. You know what? You really stepped your A game up today, my friend.
Wait, before I go, though, what's the conclusion on our Dallas Eagles talk?
That this roster is not what you think it is, where you think you have such a massive advantage over the Dallas Cowboys.
So we blow those teams out of the water. In an offensive league, in an offensively driven NFL,
there you go.
The Eagles are 9-2
the exercise.
Over
the
that
exercise squad. Was Big Z was that this man for man. It's a closer roster than you think. Now, I will give what somebody brought up in here earlier. Do the Eagles have more advantages at more important group settings like O-line, wide receiver? You don't in the secondary. You think you do. But Jeff Kerr this morning. Hey, by the way, you might want to give that guy like a dictionary and tell him and show him what generational means. Okay? Generational was a guy who wore 92 there, not a guy who wears 11 in Dallas. That's not generational. And you do, you know what you do? You do this. Man, he needed on. And John, too, man. John forgot Lawrence Taylor. He just forgot him. He just totally forgot Derek Thomas or Julius Peppers or some of these shit, even Von Miller. When you look at Micah Parsons, do you go, that's Von Miller?
No. I don't.
Do you even say Khalil
I've already been into it with John, and I take your train of thought. I'm not going to come on and bash every single guest we have on. I'll let them speak what they believe.
I love them.
No, I know you're not. I'm saying, though, when you have a guy on that disagrees with you, you don't always go at him, and people knock you for it, and you're like, that's not what I'm doing the interview for. I'm bringing his point of view to the show. So, in a way, I'm trying to I agree, though. I'm with you on the whole Micah thing, but yeah, I don't know what you're seeing with the Cowboys. I think the Eagles have a way better roster than the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, when you match up player for player, that's not what it looks like.
Yeah, but that's not how the NFL works.
Oh.
It's not a one-on-one league.
See, what a change my exercise here. They got a better quarterback, better defense than you guys. They got a better defense than you. They're better defensively. And when it comes to matching up against you, they've owned you for a decade.
Okay, great. If it was 1994, I would say great. Defensive win.
No. Last year they waxed the floor with you, and the guy stepped out of bounds. Should have had Cowboys should have beat them twice last year.
Yeah, it's true. But they didn't.
That's
didn't.
right. I forgot. You lost to the Jets.
All right. Here's the last thing I'll say on these. We're coming into the season, and you did a whole topic on this. Eagles have 1-year deals. We have Milton Williams, Devin White, and a couple other dudes who may or may not have an impact on this team on 1-year deals. The Dallas Cowboys have their 3 best players on expiring contracts. They're a dysfunctional, shitty run organization. They haven't won in 30 years because of that, and they're going to continue to not win. So we could do all the exercises on the rosters that we want. They stink, and they're never going to win the big game until they change their style, and they're not going to change their style and maybe ever. When Jerry dies, when Jerry moves on, it's probably going to go to, what, his son, his daughter, somebody, Steven. His sister, Steven. I mean, the Joneses are going to be running that thing for a long time, and I love it because they're great at making their team worth $10 billion or $12 billion and getting – wait a second. You want to hear a hilarious story? Because this encapsulates the Dallas Cowboys. Real quick, I know we have JAKIB coming up. My sisters, my mom, we grew up in Philly. They are not sports fans, my sisters. They don't care. Some women are sports fans. My sisters, my mom, they don't care about sports at all. There's this show on Netflix of some sorts about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. It's this whole documentary, and there's seasons of it, and they dive into the Cowboys and the cheerleaders and how deep the team goes. And my sisters are like, I want to go to a Dallas game. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, you guys are watching the stupid Cowboys on Netflix. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. And that shows you who makes up the Dallas Cowboys fan base. People like my mom and sister who don't give a damn about football or winning. They love the brand and the image and the outfits and all the bullshit that doesn't matter about winning football games. And they're not a good organization when it comes to winning football games. They're a great publicity. They're great business. They're great, all those things. That doesn't mean they're going to win football games. Eagles by a landslide, baby.
Yeah. Well, here I'll say this to Philly. Get out of your own way, and you'd be a little more successful. If you get out of your own way, you'd be 3-1 instead of 1-3. You wouldn't have lost in 22 if you had quality coaches in the room and weren't afraid of.
Well, shit, we had quality coaches in 22. What the hell are you talking about?
Absolutely not. When it mattered the most, you were out coached by Spagnuolo and Reed.
Spagnuolo and Reed are 2 of the best coaches the league has seen in the last 50 years.
You were good enough to beat Belichick and Brady.
Wait. Now Shane Steichen wasn't a good coach?
Wait a minute. You had coaches in 17 that beat the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah, and the Eagles got rid of him. I agree. I've been saying that was a dumb decision. But are you telling me now Shane Steichen wasn't a good coach?
Not better. No, you didn't have good enough.
I disagree. I think that game. Chiefs won. I don't think that game came down to coaching. You know, I think actually our fans, and a lot of people are going to get pissed at me for this, and that's all right. I think our fans are too hard on Jonathan Gannon about that game. You played a generational talent at quarterback and a generational offensive head coach. That's just the way the cookie crumbled. If we got the ball back at the end of that game and we win, nobody cares about Jonathan Gannon. What? Jim Schwartz gave up 550 yards to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. We won the game. So nobody knocks it. It's a different comparison. Our coaches in 22 were fine. I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Me too. My friend, absolutely great stuff. Where are we in the like list?
Let me check because we got JAKIB in the waiting room.
Yeah, we got him coming up right now.
115, brother.
Very good, guys. Keep it up. Keep hitting the like button here. Xander, great stuff, my friend. We're going to go right over to JAKIB now, okay?
Thanks, Sills. Appreciate it, guys.
You got it. Don't forget to catch him at Birds 365. Let's bring in Gary.